I've had a lot of people tell me that they can't invest in a Roth IRA because they make too much money. And on today's video, I'm going to show you a little known loophole in the IRS tax code that allows you to invest in a Roth IRA regardless of how much money you make. All right, I'm excited to talk about this topic today. I have been doing my taxes by myself since I was a young kid. My dad taught me how to do my taxes. I started on TurboTax. I love the IRS tax code. It is basically a playbook where they show you exactly how to keep more money. And growing up, it was no different. I invested in a Roth IRA since I was a little kid, and I have blown up my IRA fairly large now in real estate. The past few years, I've self-directed my IRA and have made some great investments using it, and it's all growing tax-free inside of there. So I have so many friends that start making a lot of active income and have modified adjusted gross income that's over the IRS limits, and they say, oh, well, I can't invest in a Roth IRA anymore. I can't invest in an IRA. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Let me show you how to do it. So today, I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I do it. And I've maxed out my IRA since I was 15 years old. I started raking sand traps at a golf course in Maryland and got my first W-2 income and started investing in a Roth IRA. So if you're just getting started now, just start it now. And if we haven't met, my name is Bill Allen. I am a Navy pilot turned full-time real estate investor. And I built this channel because I wanna help you grow your income. I want you to become financially free. I want you to get to a point in your life and your business where you do things because you want to, not because you have to. So I've learned a lot of things along the way, and I want to share them with you here on this YouTube channel. So if you love this stuff, if you're enjoying it, please subscribe, like the video, tell other people about it. So, all right, let's talk about contribution limits for the IRA right now. So this video is being filmed in 2022. The Roth IRA contributions haven't changed much over the past few years, but they're up to $6,000 now. But if you're 50 years old or if you're over 50, I think it's over 50, you can do a catch-up contribution, so you can add an extra $1,000. So you can put in $7,000 a year. And then if you have a spouse, little known fact here, a spouse that doesn't work, you can actually create a spousal IRA for your spouse even if they don't make any W-2 income. So one of the things with an IRA is you have to make W-2 income at or above the amount that you're putting in. So if I want to put in $6,000, I have to at least have $6,000 of W-2 income that year. So if I had $100,000, that's great, I can put in $6,000, but if I had $4,000 of W-2 income, I could only put in $4,000. So, but if I have a spouse, I can create a spousal IRA. So my wife, she has an IRA, and every year I max out her IRA, even if she doesn't have any W-2 income. So pretty cool trick there. All right, so this year in 2022, the modified adjusted gross income level for single people, when it starts phasing out, is $129,000. So most people, when they start, and the cap, so the top is $144,000 this year in 2022. So we'll put up a chart for you guys so you can see. It's kind of, you follow along with me a little bit. So if you're single, 129 to 144. So under 129, what the IRS says is you can put money directly into a Roth IRA. If you're between 129 and 144, you've got to kind of make some adjustments based on the income to the amount that you can put in. And over 144,000, the IRS says you cannot put money into a Roth IRA. I'm going to show you how today, okay? Now, if you're married filing jointly, those numbers change a little bit. It's $204,000 when it starts to phase out, and $214,000 on the modified adjusted gross income, your MAGI. For $214,000 when you can't invest directly into a Roth IRA, right? So everybody that makes more money than that on their taxes, they say, well, I can't do it, so I'm just not gonna do it. Or they stopped 4 or 5 years ago. There's a little trick. It's called a backdoor Roth IRA. So the backdoor Roth IRA, and I'm gonna tell you exactly how it works, exactly how I do it. And I self-direct my IRA into real estate. So I either invest in syndications, I do hard money loans, I might flip a house in there. There's a lot of things that you can do inside of a self-directed IRA. That's why you want to fill it up. You know about real estate. We know that real estate is the way to financial freedom, right? And I think we can all agree on that by now. And if not, go back and listen to watch all my other videos, listen to my podcast, do all those things, and I will help persuade you to know that real estate is the way, okay? So if you're somewhere in those limits and saying I can't do it, the backdoor Roth IRA works this way. You set up a traditional IRA. So there's a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. The traditional IRA, when I was younger and I wasn't making a lot of income, the benefit of a traditional IRA was if you put money in there, you can actually deduct that on your taxes. So if you put $6,000 into your traditional IRA, you have the ability to deduct that $6,000 from your taxes and not pay tax on it. So the idea of why somebody might pick to do a traditional IRA is they think they are going to be taxed. They're in a higher tax bracket now than they will be in the future. So they want to reduce their tax bracket now by $6,000 and then pull it out, and it gets taxed in the future when they pull it out. The Roth is the opposite of that. So what they do is you pay tax on it now, but you don't pay tax on any of the growth in the future. The other thing is when my parents were younger, at least, there was no Roth IRA. It was pretty new when I was a kid. And so a lot of people just, that's all they knew, and so they invested in a traditional IRA. The cool thing about a Roth IRA is you pay tax on the money that you put in there, but all the growth is tax-free. And there's also no required monthly distributions as you get older, so you don't have to pull money out on a regular basis. You can keep it in there as long as you want. There's some really cool benefits on IRAs, like inherited IRAs and stuff like that. We'll get to that in another video. So, traditional IRA, you set up a traditional IRA, and the reason I bring up the tax benefit here is you're deducting your tax if you make a certain amount of money. So at this point, you make too much money to put directly into a Roth IRA. You can still invest in a traditional IRA, you just cannot get the tax benefit from it. So you can't write off the $6,000 that you put in, or if you're over 50 years old, the $7,000 that you put in. But that's okay because we don't care, because we want it to go into a Roth IRA. So for me, I make too much money to invest directly into a Roth IRA. So what I do is I do this backdoor Roth IRA. I set up a traditional account, so mine is in Vanguard. I have a traditional IRA in Vanguard. I put my $6,000 in there on January 1st every year. It hits January 1st. I know that I'm gonna have over $6,000 in W-2 income from the year. I put my $6,000 in there, and then what I do is I have a Roth IRA in Vanguard, and I just immediately do a conversion. So I convert my traditional IRA, my $6,000, into my Roth IRA in Vanguard, and I make that conversion. One for one, it goes into the Roth IRA, and that is what's called a backdoor Roth IRA. So I didn't get the tax benefit from the traditional because I'm not deducting it on my taxes. And then I roll it over into the Roth IRA. Then what I do is I just do a transfer. So custodian to custodian transfer. So I transfer my $6,000 from Vanguard, and I transfer it over to my self-directed IRA. And that's how it works. It's that simple. I just take the money and I send it over there. I don't take the money, I don't take possession of the money, I don't hold it for more than 30 days as an example. I just have them send it directly from custodian to custodian. And so that transfer is not a taxable event. It goes right over there, and now I have a backdoor Roth IRA. My money is in my Roth IRA, and I can go transact with it however I see fit. So that's a backdoor Roth IRA. That's why it's totally false that anybody that ever says, I make too much money to invest in a Roth IRA, I just look at them and I go, let me tell you about this little known trick called the backdoor Roth IRA. So if you're a high income earner, if you make a ton of money, if you have a modified adjusted gross income over $144,000 if you're single, or $214,000 if you're married filing jointly, you can still invest in a Roth IRA using this exact trick. Very simple to do. There's a lot of other things that you can do along with it, but that is the trick, okay? So I hope this helps you if you're out there looking like, hey, I make too much money, or you ever hear somebody say that, just give them this tip, okay? You don't have to tell them that I told you about it. I didn't make it up. I'm just somebody who uses all the tips and tricks that I find out there. So I hope this is beneficial to you. If it was, subscribe to the channel, like the video, tell somebody about it. I'd love to see you come back, and also in the comments, tell me what you liked. Tell me if this is something new to you. If there's something in here that you have a question about, or you want to know more, you want me to go in more detail, I'll make another video about it. I hope this helps. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.